Texas versus Florida. Two massive states, zero income tax, and enough attitude to fill the Gulf of Mexico twice over. 7 rounds, 1 winner, and I'll be back in the middle to keep score. Ring the bell.
Two states, zero income tax, infinite attitude. Texas is the kind of place that puts its own name on belt buckles, bumper stickers, and the occasional water tower, just to make sure you don't forget where you are. Florida is the state that produced Florida Man, and instead of being embarrassed about it, just kind of leaned in. One of these states thinks it's the greatest place on earth. The other one knows it is. 7 rounds, 7 categories, 1 winner. Let's settle this thing.
Round 1. Cost of living and affordability. The bell rings and both states jog to the center of the ring, leading with the exact same punch. No state income tax. Texas says it. Florida says it. Every moving truck headed south on I-95 or I-10 has heard it. Both states wave that flag like it's the only flag they've got, which, if you've been to Texas, it's basically the second flag they've got. But past that first jab, the fight gets interesting. Florida's housing market has absolutely lost the plot. The median home price in Florida has blown past $400,000 and shows no signs of coming back down to earth. Then there's the insurance situation. Hurricane insurance in South Florida costs roughly the same as a second mortgage, assuming you can even find a company willing to write it. Some counties have been essentially abandoned by insurers entirely. The no income tax savings can evaporate fast when your homeowner's policy hits 5 figures. Texas isn't innocent either. Property taxes in the Lone Star State are among the highest in the country. The state skips income tax and then absolutely makes up for it every January when the bill arrives. But, and this is a meaningful but, the median home price in Texas still hovers around $305,000, meaningfully lower than Florida's. You're getting more house for your dollar even after the property tax hit. Utilities are a wash. Both states run hot. Texas had its infamous 2021 winter freeze expose serious grid vulnerabilities, and Texans paid dearly for it, literally. But day to day, the cost comparison still favors Texas. Round 1 winner, Texas. Florida's insurance premiums and inflated housing market land the knockout. Texas takes this on points.
Round 2. Weather and natural disasters. Florida gets more hurricane landfalls than any other state in America. It is not particularly close. The entire state is a peninsula jutting stubbornly into the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico like it's actively looking for a fight. And every hurricane season, the ocean is more than happy to oblige. And it's not just hurricanes. Florida gets flooded. It gets tornadoed. The humidity during summer is genuinely oppressive, the kind of wet, thick heat that hits you in the face when you step outside and makes you immediately reconsider your life choices. Miami in August is not a climate, it's a punishment. Oh, and Florida leads the entire nation in lightning strikes. Every year, consistently. The Sunshine State gets struck by lightning more than any other state in the country, which is either deeply ironic or perfectly on brand, depending on your perspective. Texas comes to this round with its own disaster resume. Tornadoes tear through the panhandle in North Texas with genuine menace. Hailstorms in Texas have set national records. Laredo regularly sees temperatures exceeding 110 degrees in summer. Not heat index temperatures, actual temperatures. And the 2021 freeze proved that Texas winters, rare as they are, can be catastrophic when the grid isn't ready for them. But here's the thing. Florida's weather threats are more frequent, more consistent, and more expensive. Hurricane season runs from June through November every single year. In Texas, you might dodge a bad year. In Florida, the question isn't if, it's which month. Round 2. Winner, Texas. Florida's year-round hurricane exposure and humidity. TKO this one. Texas survives more categories of disaster, which somehow makes it the winner here.
Round 3.
Wildlife and the danger factor. Florida has 1.3 million alligators. That's not a shocking number anymore, which is the most Florida sentence that has ever been written. You know a state has a wildlife problem when gator sightings in the Walmart parking lot barely make the local news. But Florida didn't stop at alligators. The Everglades now hosts a thriving population of Burmese pythons, massive, invasive snakes that can hit 18 feet, swallow a deer whole, and have methodically worked their way through the native wildlife population like an all-you-can-eat buffet with no closing time. Florida's response? Python hunting competitions with cash prizes. Florida saw a snake apocalypse and turned it into a sport. Then there are the sharks. Florida leads the entire nation in unprovoked shark attacks. Not just some years, every year. Consistently. Florida man goes to the beach, and the ocean has opinions about that. Texas steps into this round with feral hogs. An estimated 2.5 million of them roam the state. Aggressive, intelligent, and extraordinarily destructive. They cause approximately $400 million in property and crop damage every year. They don't back down. They travel in groups. They are everywhere. Texas also brings rattlesnakes, copperheads, cottonmouths, scorpions, tarantulas, and mountain lions to the table. It's a solid lineup. Both states have fire ants because the universe apparently decided that was a shared punishment. But Florida's combination: 1 million-plus alligators, a python invasion, consistent shark attacks, and more lightning than anywhere in America, creates a rare atmosphere where multiple distinct things are actively trying to end you at any given moment. Round 3 winner. Florida. The python, alligator, shark trifecta earns it. Texas has quantity. Florida has creativity.
3 rounds down, Texas leads 2-1. Florida took the wildlife round, and honestly, the pythons did all the heavy lifting on that one. 4 more rounds to go, and it is very much still a fight.
Round 4. Economy and job opportunities.
Texas has the second largest economy in the United States. Full stop. Only California outpaces it, and Texas would like you to know it finds that deeply offensive and is working on it. The Texas GDP sits around $2 trillion and keeps climbing. The state has pulled off one of the more impressive corporate relocation streaks in recent American history. Tesla, Oracle, Hewlett-Packard, and a parade of others have all packed up and moved to Texas in recent years. Austin went from keeping it weird college town to legitimate tech hub in what felt like about 18 months. Houston remains the energy capital of the country. Dallas is a financial machine. Florida's economy, at around $1.4 trillion, is genuinely strong and should not be dismissed. Tourism carries enormous weight, and the Kennedy Space Center alone gives the state an aerospace credibility that most states can't touch. Miami has quietly become a serious financial hub, attracting hedge funds and fintech companies looking for something between New York and the Bahamas. But Texas has more economic diversity, a stronger corporate relocation track record, and a job market that has historically outperformed Florida's over the past decade. The numbers back it up across nearly every metric that matters. Florida is in this fight. Texas is just running a slightly different weight class. Round 4 winner. Texas. Depth of economic output and corporate momentum give Texas the edge. Florida's economy is real. Texas's is just bigger and more diverse.
Round 5. Food and culinary culture.
Texas barbecue is not a meal. It is a religion with a specific theology, a rigid doctrine, and genuine heretics. Slow-smoked brisket, beef ribs the size of a human forearm, house-made sausage, the kind of food that makes first-timers go quiet for a moment before eating because they need a second to appreciate what's in front of them. Central Texas barbecue, the kind you find in Lockhart, Taylor, and Austin, is legitimately world-class, and Texans will tell you so, repeatedly, until you agree. Add Tex-Mex to the lineup, a cuisine so beloved it effectively became its own genre, plus chicken fried steak, kolaches from the Czech Texan bakery tradition, and breakfast tacos that have sparked genuine cultural arguments with other cities. And Texas has a food identity that is passionate, specific, and hard to beat. Florida hits back with depth. The Cuban Sandwich is a point of serious civic pride. Tampa and Miami both claim the definitive version and will not be accepting counter-arguments. Florida stone crab is seasonal, expensive, and absolutely worth the planning. Key lime pie,
the real one. Tart and dense and nothing like what the rest of the country calls key lime pie belongs to Florida in a way few foods belong to any state. And then there's the diversity. Miami's food scene pulls from Cuban, Caribbean, Venezuelan, Colombian, Haitian, and Peruvian traditions, creating one of the most genuinely varied culinary landscapes in the country. Florida doesn't have one food identity, it has several, and most of them are excellent. This one comes down to passion versus range. Texas has the icon, Florida has the catalog. Round 5. Draw. Brisket versus Cuban sandwich is a debate nobody wins, and nobody should be forced to choose. Point split. Round 6. Sports culture. On paper, Florida wins this round by roster size alone. The state fields 3 NFL franchises: the Buccaneers, Dolphins, and Jaguars, plus 2 NBA teams, 2 NHL teams, 2 MLB teams, and MLS representation. That's a lot of jerseys, a lot of stadiums, and a lot of sports radio arguments. And Florida teams have been winning recently in a way that's hard to ignore. The Tampa Bay Lightning took back-to-back Stanley Cups. The Buccaneers won a Super Bowl. The Miami Heat have been a perennial contender. Florida's pro sports trophy case is genuinely impressive. Texas counters with its own serious lineup. The Cowboys, Texans, Spurs, Mavericks, Rockets, Astros, Rangers, and Austin FC all flying the flag. The Astros won a World Series. The Rangers won one too. The Spurs dynasty with Tim Duncan is one of the great organizational achievements in American sports history. But here's the thing about Texas that no stat can fully explain: high school football. In Texas, Friday Night Lights is not a movie title. It's a weekly ritual. Towns with populations under 5,000 build stadiums that seat 10,000. The football coach is the most important person in the county. Families have multi-generational loyalty to high school programs the way other states have loyalty to NFL franchises. Players who don't make it to the college level are mourned like a missed calling. It is a cultural phenomenon unlike anything in American sports, and Florida simply doesn't have an equivalent. Florida's pro team volume and recent championship count edge this round, but Texas's football culture runs deeper into the everyday life of its people than anything Florida can match at the professional level. Round 6 winner? Florida. Pro team depth and recent championships take this one. Texas's high school football culture is in a class by itself, but Florida wins the round.
6 rounds in, Texas leads 3-2 with 1 draw on food because nobody's picking between brisket and a Cuban sandwich, not even me. 1 round left. The weird factor. Both of these states have been training for this their entire existence.
Round 7, the weird factor. And here we are. The main event, the round both states were born for. Florida Man is one of the great modern American mythologies. The term exists because Florida's public records laws are unusually open, which means every bizarre arrest, every baffling incident, every unhinged 3 a.m. convenience store altercation gets written up and published. It created a folklore. Florida Man has wrestled alligators in front of a Denny's. Florida Man led police on a 45-minute pursuit on a stolen lawnmower doing 14 miles per hour, and the chase was considered newsworthy. Florida Man called 911 to report a Subway sandwich that did not have enough mustard. These are documented events. Florida's legal record suggests the state legislature has also seen some things. It is technically illegal to sing in a public place while wearing a swimsuit. It was apparently necessary, at some point in Florida's history, to clarify via statute that selling children is not permitted. Nobody questions this. The law exists. Moving on. Texas is not conceding this round without a real fight. Texas has 2.5 million feral hogs roaming free, and an ongoing cultural conversation about what to do about them that has produced some genuinely creative proposals. It is perfectly legal in Texas to carry a sword in public with no permit required. A man once attempted to rob a gun store. A law exists making it illegal to milk someone else's cow, which implies that was a recurring issue requiring legislative intervention. And don't mess with Texas. One of the most iconic state slogans in American history was originally an anti-littering campaign. The state accidentally branded itself and then just kept it. Peak Texas. The thing is, Texas's weird is usually big and loud. Feral hog invasions, sword laws,
cattle theft legislation. Florida's weird is daily, relentless, and inexplicably personal. It doesn't announce itself, it just happens every morning. Like weather. Round 7 winner, Florida. By a narrow margin. Texas has the wild. Florida has institutionalized the wild as a lifestyle and built a legal framework around it. The verdict. Final score. Texas 3, Florida 3. 1 draw. That's right, 7 rounds, and these two states couldn't settle it cleanly. They fought to a dead tie, which is either a deeply satisfying outcome or proof that this particular argument was never going to end. And honestly, both things can be true at the same time. Texas wins on affordability, weather resilience, and sheer economic horsepower. Florida wins on dangerous wildlife creativity, pro sports hardware, and weaponizing its own chaos into a cultural identity. Neither state is giving ground on food. Neither should. Here's what the scorecard doesn't capture. Both of these states are winning compared to most of the country. No income tax, strong job markets, year-round warmth, enough personality between them to fill the other 48 states combined. The real loser? Anyone sitting in February in a state where neither of these things is an option. Texas and Florida aren't rivals. They're the same argument having itself in 2 different accents. One says, y'all, the other says, no, seriously, there is an alligator in the parking lot. The winner depends entirely on what you're after. Want to build something? Texas is waiting. Want to survive something genuinely unhinged and have an incredible story to tell about it later? Florida's door is open. It's always open. They can't get the hand.
7 rounds and they couldn't separate them. Yeah, which honestly feels exactly right for 2 states that are both way too stubborn to lose. Subscribe to Backroads and Borderline, stay salty, and if you move to Texas, grab a sword. It's legal.